May we begin? Hope you all hear me. Take this opportunity before we even begin to wish everybody Haksiva Chasima Tova, because I believe this is the last Chabura for Tavshin Pei Dalit. And if I understood Mordechai correctly, there's no Chabura scheduled for Aseres Tshuva. Okay? As we have to do Tshuva. We have no time for Chaburas with Tshuva. I hear that. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Okay, so my last Chabura was on Simon Kuf Nun Tes, the opening Simon Nichas Ribbis, and today I plan to get no further than Simon Kuf Samach Sif Aleph. There's a little link between the two Chaburas, as we shall see. Says the Shulchan Aruch as follows: Tzorach lizor b'Ribbis, v'kama lav and nemrubo, v'afilu halova v'hanosto v'ore v'edim over him. Okay, that's it. 2 lines in Shulchan Aruch. I want to focus on the Pischei Tshuva. We together with the Pischei Tshuva. Ein Mishal Melech Perikatal Milchus Malva Den Beis Shekosa B'Shem Arav Pnei Bal Pnei Moshe Tehecha the Love Chazi LaHamalve Mosif Hani Damim LiYisrael Achvina Leka Mishum Lifnei Iver. He is lending money to another Yid, and instead of him lending to, let's say, that Reuven, Shimon, and Levi. Reuven is what I have like called Mr. Moneybags. Reuven has a lot of money, but Shimon and Levi have no money, so they want to borrow from Reuven. So Shimon's about to borrow from Reuven, and Levi says, "Hey, wait a minute, I want to borrow from Reuven." So the Pnei Moshe, no Lifnei Iver. Why? It's a Mefurish Gemara Avodah Zarah. Hoshit kos yain lenazir, but mechayim mishum Lifnei Iver. Ela b'dekoy b'trei Iver denara. Aval b'lav achilo. 2 sides of the river. There's no way that the person can be over the Avera and say, throw it over the river. That's Lifnei Iver. But on the same side of the river, you can just walk over and take it, right? Throw it to him. That's no Lifnei Iver. That's a Mefurish Gemara. Masech Avodah Zarah Davav. Who's al cholek alav? The Mishnah Berurah argues in the Pnei Moshe. Lo dam the nazir. Why? To sham im lo hoya Moshe zeakos lo hoya nasa klal ha'isa lefnei Iver. Ava gabe Ribbis tim lo lava zeh hoya halo v'ha'acher over lefnei Iver. Bishvil zeh lo nifta mi lifnei Iver. It's important to note that the machmirim are only machmir where the other person would be over on Lifnei Iver. But what will happen if the other person would not be over on Lifnei Iver? Then perhaps would be mutter, even if he needs someone else to do it. There's a Tosfos in Masechta Chagiga that all these poskim talk about. Those who agree and disagree, and this machlokas ha'achronim. Sorry. Here's Chagiga. And most from divrei Torah la'akum. Well, it says in Sanhedrin, Hamalam na over lifnei Iver l'sitin michsho. Yesh lomar tahacham Mari afilu hecha deika over kachovim acher shiros alalamdo teleka lifnei Iver. Tosfos is saying 2 things. It was another guy who will teach him. There's no Lifnei Iver. The implication they're saying, if there's a Yid who would teach him, there is Lifnei Iver. That's the Raya. That's the Mishnah Melech brings the Chumrah. For the fact that Tosis and Chagiga Daf Yud Gimel and Aleph said only if there's a goy there, there'd be no avera. If there'd be a yid there would be an avera. Okay, this is important to note because even the Machmirim will agree if there's someone you can get the money from somebody else who would not be over Lifnei Iver, that'd be okay. Both the Chumah and the Kula seem to derive from the same line, and Tosis and Chagiga Daf Yud Gimel and Aleph. Okay, fine. Back to the Pischei Tshuva here in Siman Kuf Samach Sif Katan Aleph. The old, a second reason. The Hacha also the Efsha Shahalo Ve'Ha'acha Yachzebo V'Lo Yilveh. Why would he back out? He'll have pangs of conscience. Pangs of conscience. Who realize I'm not supposed to be doing this. Right? Yeah. The EU Machshel Lamalva Adkan Dvar of the Mishnah Melech. Let's go slow. Adkan, we had the Machlokas Agdolei Aposkim. Fine. Vinay. The Das Toisus Varosh Varan Reish Perkama de Shabbos was quoted back in Kuf Nun Aleph Sif Aleph V'Hagah. Okay, let's take a look. What does it say in Kuf Nun Aleph Aleph V'Hagah? It depends which Shulchan Aruch you have. This one has Kuf Nun Aleph in the same volume in the Hagah. It says, Yeshomim. This is an opinion that's quoted here in the Ramah. Oh, the also limkolem dvar mashiach la'avodosa. Hainu davka im ein lehem acherim kayotze bo. Or shlo yuchlu liknos b'mokom acher. Aval im yicholu liknos b'mokom acher. Mutal limkolehem kol davar. That's what he's referring to over here. V'yesh machmirim. V'nagu lahagel gesvar rishona. Who's he quoting? Toistus, the Rosh, Perikama, the Shabbos. The same people that they're quoting. In the parentheses over here. The people who's quoting Shem and our Simon. Kuf Samach, Sivkot, and Al Pischei Tshuva. Toistus, Rosh, Ran, Perikama, the Shabbos. Quoted back in Kuf and Al Sval Bahagah. Listen carefully to the words of the Pischei Tshuva. The Af ben Nazir, Bechad Iver, the Nara, also with the Rabbanon. Came in the Mechuyev Lafrisho. Ayin Sham. Uaden Hacha. Af I Neima the Domi Mamish Nazir. Like the Pnei Moshe against the Mishnah Melech. Mikomakom. Also Lachatchila. Also anyway. Also with Rabbanon. The Af the Yesh Lomar. The Hacha Ribbis the Rabbanon. Have Xera L'Xera. What does that mean? It's a Ribbis to Rabbanon. That's what we're talking about. Let's talk about Ribbis to Rabbanon for the moment. Ribbis to Rabbanon, because the Ramah says here in Kuf Samach Sef Aleph that typically the lova is an independent Isef Lo Sashich. The lova over Badach Ribbis to Raisa, have Ribbis to Rabbanon, Eina over Eli Mishum Lifnei Iver. We're discussing it there for Ribbis to Rabbanon. So it's a Xera L'Xera. Ribbis to Rabbanon and Lifnei Iver to Rabbanon. No. Mikomago, Meyachad Daha Heim Tolo Atam, Kevin the Mechuyev Lafrisho, for Mr. Pshita, Tiaf Isa to Rabbanon, Mechuyev Lafrisho, Moshe Hochachti L'Kamon, Siman Shin Gimel. What's in Siman Shin Gimel? What's in Siman Shin Gimel? Take a look. Oh, that's not here. That's here. Siman Shin Gimel. Where Nachlas Tzvi, the Pischei Tshuva wrote the Nachlas Tzvi, which is not found in Pischei Tshuva. You think it's because it's long. This is very short. What does it say over here in Siman Shin Gimel? In Shin Gimel, it says as follows. Yemhoya shel devreim, Klaim shel devreim, Eino koro me'olov, ve'eino poshta b'shuk, ad shemagia lebeso. Godel kavod abrius, dochel osesim midrabon. It's a Gemara. Says the Nachasvi, nearly, had shemagia lebeso koi, gamaresha, eino koro me'olov. Eino koro me'olov, ad shemagia lebeso. When you get to beso, you have to rip it off. Shagir lebeso, gam chavera koro me'olov, av sheino lekalayim d'Rabbanan, mitam, shafisa d'Rabbanan, mechuyav lafrisho. How do I know it? Shabbos kufchav memches and beitz adaf lamid, ho darmina mutav shemshog vayam mezidim, hadavka b'isa d'Rabbanan. Ayin sham. Alma, dim ein locha shu mezidim, mechuyav lahafrish afi d'Rabbanan. The old rhyme within Zagufa. Him shall devreim in a korah me'olov. Ubefurish hatam b'Rambam perek yud milchos kalayim din chavtes Lifnei. Is the devreim nich me'kavod abris. Alma the lavai taima kemo she'ena b'shuk chayav lekorah me'olov. The old yesh kamarayas nachlas tzvi. When nachlas tzvi is telling us that the chiyuv lahafresh me'isura applies to the rabbanos as well. Seems to be quite clear. He brings rayas. Some of them he told us, some he didn't tell us about. Let's assume that it's true. Okay? Assuming that it's true, back to the Pischei Tshuva for those who came in. Siman Kuf Samach Siv Kotten Alf. Fine. So what do you say? It's Xero? No. It's not, don't give me this Xero business. Why? Heim Tolo Atam came in Shemchuyel Lafrisho. But Milsa Pshita, that piece of the Rabbanim Mechuyel Lafrisho. As I said in the comments, Siman Shin Gimel, I just read to you. So far, so good. Oh no. The Mumuki Agavna. Hineba the Domi Mamish Lenazir. Again, to repeat. It's Machlokes, Pnei Moshe and Mishnah Melech. In a situation in which, if I won't do it, he'll do it anyway. But the one who'll help him do it anyway, he'll be over Lifnei Iver. The Pnei Moshe, that's not a problem. Lifnei Iver and Mishnah, so there is. Let's assume the Pnei Moshe, arguendo. Yeah. Then, Mutter Af L'Chatchila. Chatchila? What happened to the din? You just said before, well, you can't say this. Shimashikosav Ashach, Shom, Sivkotten Vov. What's Shom? Kuf Nun Aleph, Sivkotten Vov. On the Ramah who said that you can't sell to the goy, it's only if he has no others. If he add others, you can sell to him. Says the Shach Sivkotten Vov, the Sviule, Teheked Armina B'Shas, Gabi Nozer, the Osaloshet Lo Kos Yayin, Hainu Daka B'Katrei V'Denari. Who are den Hacha? Over here, it's also mutter. Yesh Machmir V'Sovrin, the Mikomish, the Rabbonanika. Afilo Havik about Trei V'Denara. The calls of the Dasa Rav. Aleph Yanez Daiti, Lo Pligi. The Ramah had a machlokas about Yesh Mekil Yesh Machmir V'Nog Kitzvar Rishona. No machlokas. The Kuli Alma Modim La Mordechai V'Tois V'Kamad Avodazar, the Belv'Kachavim Omumo Shari. Vagos Mordechai V'Tois V'Rosh Pekamad the Shabbos V'Aran Pekamad Avodazar Mari B'Yisrael Shu Chayav Lafrisho Me'isur Uked the Kosta V'Rosham Logor Yisrael Kodnoch on the Veil Shuk Beis Mitzvah Lafrisho Koshken Yisrael Godol Mash Ein Kein V'Yov'Kachavim. So far, so good. He has two critical words. V'Yisrael Mumar Shenu Chayav Lafrisho Teida Taria Kosav Rabda Kemoshe Das HaTosis Reish Bekamad Avodazara Das HaMordechai Shom Deshari V'Losh LaRosh Bekamad Avodazara Ukoshon HaTosis Shom Imkain Fidas HaRav Yedivi HaRosh Sosim Zezeh and Rabbeinu Yeruchim Sosim Zezeh must be about it. The Pirishis. There's no machlokes. Everyone agrees that it's mutter when it comes to a goy, because there's no chiyuv lafrisha. But he throws in two critical words: the Yisrael mumar. There's no chiyuv lafrisha Yisrael mumar. Ve'zokt, who said why so? Comes the dogam meravava and sits to the side. Havadash Yisrael Mumar. Afapisha Chata Yisraelu. Vim Kain. Mabeno L'Shar Yisrael in Afrisha Mi'avera. He doesn't understand why the Shach is saying what he's saying. We'll come back in a minute. Avol Nirel and Yisdaiti Kavonas Hashach. The Af B'Yisrael Ein Mitzuvin L'Afrisha Ki'im Ksha over B'Shogeg. V'yesh B'yad Ish Achel L'Afrisha Chayav L'Afrisha. Ukema B'Kot Nochel Nevelos. Shakot and Shogegu. U'misha D'Reish Perkama the Shabbos B'Shogeg Mari. K'masha D'Rei Rashi Sham Shabbos Av Gimel and Aleph. Yeah. I'll be Yisrael the road to lava b'mezid alez aveira. I feel who ain't no mumar gamur. Ein Yisrael lacha mitzuva lafrisha ledas hashach. Umumar the nakar hashach. Umishim da poskim b'mumar dibru. Umumar mistama mezidu. V'yod the kol over aveira b'mezid yikar mumar also davar. It is a chiddush nifla in Dogam Eravava. It's not the push-up shot in the shach. Just isn't. But he's stuck with a kasha. Yisrael, we spoke about this once before, that the Chiyav L'Afrisho, Pashut Shams from the Pasuk, Hocheach Tochiach, Es Amisecha. Came up last time we talked about Ribbis for a Mumar, is not Bechlal Amisecha. I think I even mentioned this to you last time. Did I pull out the Mishnah Berurah last time? I don't remember. We said this is the last Chabura before Yom Kippur, so. And actually, the Gemara that we talked in base is talking about eating an Erev Yom Kippur. So it's Yom Kippur twice over, because it comes up over here in the Shulchan Aruch as well. Simin Tov Reish Vov, I believe it is. Well, Tov Reish Ches Noshim She'ochos V'Shosam Shechashecha V'Einu Yodas Shemitzlos V'Chol HaKodesh Ein Mamchim Yodam V'Shlo Yavel That's the Mizidin. That's the Gemara in base, but that's in Tov Reish Ches. Just turn back to Tov Reish Vov. Sorry about that. No, my mistake. Tov Reish Ches. Oh, only Tov Reish Ches. But it says over here, in certain situations, you have to Mocha B'Yodam. Deah, says the Heilige B'Yalocha. The Mashaposker Ramah, the Mefurish B'Torah Chayav L'Mchos, Dav Kashu B'Akroi. Aval Elu HaPorkei Ol L'Garmei, for Mechal Shabbos for Hesed, or Ochem Leveles Achis. For Yotze Michlal Amisecha, ve'ena Mechuyev Lochicho, Tana Develio, Hocheach Tohiches Amisecha, Amisecha Shu Ohavcha v'Shu Imcha B'Torah v'Mitzvus Atachayev Lochicho so. Aval L'Rosh Shu Sonacha, En Atachayev Lochicho so. And the Gra quotes Naseres Elio, Aderes Elio. Period. The Veles V'Teyoven, Chal Shabbos Shalom V'Eser, Yesh Shayin B'Dover. That's trying the Shach. Not the Noda Bihud, not the Dogam Eravov. He reread the Shach. That's Kavanas HaShach. The Shach said Yisrael Mumar. He meant, I believe, what we just read goes back to much earlier sources. Tan Nevelio, Rabbah. Who wrote that? Huh? Whatever. It's an early source. But there are other early sources. This is not the only place where it says Amisecha Lafuke. We learned on all last year. I gave a whole chabur about this too. That Yoreh and many others say that you're not included in Amisecha. If you're not, if you're Yotze Min HaKlal, you're not Yisrael Mumar. So it's not just the Tana Develio, Rabbah. It's many other sources in Chazal as well. That's what the Shach meant, in my opinion. Not what the Dogam Rabbah said he meant. Kain Nirali. But we'll come to see it. It's going to come back in a minute. A question?
If the Chiyav L'Afrisho is just the Kavachomer from Machiach Tefech Samisacha, so why are the poskim characterized as Mr. Drabbana? That's
what bothers me. I was about to ask the same question. And what is an Isa Derabbanan? I think what it means is a Lifnei Iver Derabbanan. If Chazal created a new category, Lifnei Iver Derabbanan, which is a low saseh. It could be it's a bitl asay or cheach to chim samisech on the level of doraisa. That's only a bitl asay. It's called so lifnei iver derabbanan. That's one possibility. If you have a better one, you'll let me know. You're asking an excellent question. That question has bothered me for a long time. That may be a possible answer. Okay, but we'll look into it later. Maybe we'll find a better answer. If you find another answer, you'll let us know before the next chabur. It's a serious question. You have to look into it carefully. Fine. I'm still reading the same Pischei Tshuva here in Siman. Oh, let's go back. This is Kuf Tanaf. I'll go back to Kuf Samach. Siv Katan Alf and Pischei Tshuva. Watch. Omna b'muma ki agavna inema the dami mamash nazir muter afachat chila. As the Shach said, there's a convav. Kul yama modem v'yisrael mumul avodas kachavim cave in the ain mechuyev lafishu ayin sham. Now watch. V'nira l'chora. Tim also Yisrael achash sherotza luvos gamkein whom they pikuach nefesh. There's Reuven, Shimon, and Levi. Reuven is a gvir. Shimon Levi a porpoise. Shimon's about to borrow for pikuach nefesh. Now Levi said, "Oh, I'll take it." First of all, chutzpah. He's doing for pikuach nefesh. You crazy? He's going to say that at the end. But okay, hacha b'mayaskina. Ol tzorach mitzvah. V'chadome. Ein isa l'lo v'zeh. Levi. I feel the chatchila. Why? V'chagavna gavna dasa mishnah lemelech against the Pnei Moshe. Leka Lifnei Iver. Why? To damim mamash the nazir. Tim lo lova. Ze lo nasa klal is Lifnei Iver. Epikuach nefesh l'tzorach mitzvah muta lilvos beribis kedakamon sivchav beis. Wait. This is the stud in Kartani. Pikuach nefesh, everything is muta. What's in sivchav beis? Muta lilvos pikuach nefesh. That's obvious. This is pshita. But not for other things. But some say that if it's only Ribbis Rabbanon, then it's mutter for tzorach mitzvah, it's tzorach hakol. That's what he has been referring to in the small print in the Ramah, which we're not getting up to yet. That's what he means. Period. Okay. Gam mashachas mishal melach sheme yachsabo lo shayechacha lo chashina nezer rak hecha shalo ve'ha'acha ya'osa iser shekara v'adava sheyachsabo ki lo yachvos lasos resha. For Raya Berura, Tois Chagiga Daf Yud Gimel, Ein Moshe, and I just read it to you. Mishnah Melech quotes that as a Raya L'chumra. Im Loken Kosher, Hakata Iga Chashasha Ashniya, Shemeyachzabo. Maybe that's the reason. Peduk, El Demitam Ach. Period. In other words, he's saying that Shemeyachzabo does not apply over here. Because he's not doing an Aveira. Because that's the right from Tosin Chagiga Gimel. Ela de mitam acher, yesh lesa shloyeh hagorel levata pikuach nefesh tzorach mitzvah, calls it Poshet. Okay. Ad kan, the Pischei Tshuva here in Siman, Kuf, Samach, Sivkoton. He referred to a Nachlas Tzvi in Siman Shin Gimel. But guess what? In this edition of the Shulchan Aruch, there's a Nachlas Tzvi right over here in Siman Kuf Samach Sif Aleph. I couldn't find it in my fancier edition. Maybe if you could find it, usually that this one has everything. I couldn't find it. So I'm reading from this little smaller print here, I just couldn't find it in the nicer edition. If you have it, you can be easier if you read there. I'm reading from here. Ken Kasav Arosh Pergezu Neshach Siman Mem Beis. This we can see. That's what comes from. The Ramah made a statement, but the Ribbis Rabbanan, there's no Lo Sashich, only Lifnei Iver. But where did he get it from? He just make it up out of nowhere. It's a Chiddush. Usually called the Rabbanan, came the Raisa Tikkun. We have to discuss this whole year in Hilchos Ribbis when you apply that in Avak Ribbis, when it's came to, obviously it's not literally the Raisa, we know the distinctions, Yotzei B'dayonim, not Yotzei B'dayonim. It could be other distinctions. It's going to be tricky all year long. But Pashtus, I would have said, came to Raisa Tikkun. There should be a low sashik with the Rabbanan. That's what I would have said. Omar Rava, it's a Gemara in Masechta Bava Metzia, Daf Samaches. Rav Ilish Gava Rabba, Isura Leinshi Lohavi Saf. It's called the Schar. Excuse me. Midolo Kama, Lo Ovid Isura. It's only the flavor. He himself is not doing anything wrong. Rav Ilish if he's a lova in this case. Yeshadaktek, the avak ribbis, kihai, is another big question. Snap it today, Shia. Is it only kihai? Not all avak ribbis is created equal. Could be the cool is only avak ribbis kihai. Ein hisa lelova. Midlo yoev, mididei, tfei, lo kavine belo sashich. I feel he's with Rabbi Lek. Excuse me. That's why over here it's only Lifnei. Give me a minute. Take out a tissue. This is the Chiddush over here of the Rosh. The Rosh bases on a Gemara and his pshat in the Gemara. And again, we're not sure if it's limited to Kihai or it applies to other Rabbanans. There is a discussion over here in the Mefoshim on the Rosh. Teferes Shmuel, for example, Nafkamina, Heresh Yadua Shebalav Hochi Malva Beribbis. V'yesh ne Adam Shemuchanan Luvos V'menu Beribbis. Teshari Likach Emenu L'Maxis Schar Shricholen Liten Kos Yael Nazir Heresh Yochel Likach Biatzmo. The plain Moshe, right? This is another Teferes Shmuel was in the Gedolei Ador. He's going with the plain Moshe against the Mishnah Melech. I feel if it's for us, so Shas L'Sayeh they over Avera, with the Rabbanon, Kid the Parshina L'Sham Beresh Avodah Zarah. Ersha Yesh Lahatil Lehecha de Adrabba, Matzilo me Ribbis D'Oraisa, Umevia the Ribbis D'Rabbanon, Umatel Afalove, Ula Lo Heyochel Lilvos Machan Chavos Ayda Yisrael. Whoa! Hear what he's saying over here? When you knock it down from a D'Oraisa de Rabbanon, you're doing him a favor. If there's no lo sashich, it's only lifnei iver. But over here, you're going to make a derabbanan arrangement, and if not for you, he might have been involved in a d'oraisa arrangement, a d'oraisa arrangement. In a different situation, I quoted for you from Rabbi Kiva Eger. Once we're here, we can't pass it up. I'm sorry. I couldn't find it. Whatever. I have it in front of me. Thank you. Could have saved my eyes. But I'm still able to read it. Okay. It's small there too. Okay. Siman Kuf Pei Aleph. Rabbi Kiva Eger. It says over here in Sivov, Isha Edem b'mitzvah hakafa, but Asur lahakav pas rosh ish. Okay, Avada Lifnei Iver. Pavhecha di have matzah legalech biatzmo. V'kol havi isa derabanan. Tosus Rei Shabbos. Uli Shloma. The bezel leka isim b'din mitzvah lafrisho. The adarabba. V'mashi megalachas also bezel mafrishoso. The lohoysa megalachas also. Hoya megalech biatzmo. The over bebeis lavin. The dikaf umakif. Hadei shehi megalachas mafrishoso milav. The makif. How do you like that? That's what the Tiferes Shmuel is saying. The same thing. If they even quote the Rabbanon, that's going to be Mafrisha Meisura, then what if you knock him down from a higher level Issa to a lower level Issa? You're not doing him a disservice, you're doing him a service. And there was no way to say that this quote, Lifnei Iver the Rabbanon, would apply. So there's two Chidushim in this Tiferes Shmuel. One, like the Plei Moshe against the Mishnah Melech, and two, like a Bekiv Eger, all in one half a line. Fine. Comes along the Nachlas Tzvi, here in our Siman, Kuv Samach with the following kash. Fine. Mavur Mizeh, the Af Isa the Rabbanon, Shaykh Lifnei Iver. Pshita. When I was growing up, they told us there's a shaila if you machshel someone in Isa Derabanan, is that Lifnei Iver Derabanan or Lifnei Iver Doraisa? Remember that famous Chakira? Because even it's no worse than Eitz Hashem Ogeres. That's what they talk about in the yeshivas. Minchasir, I think, talks about it, but that it shouldn't be usher at all. Man dechar shemei. Whoever says anything. Watch. For kashali tuva. Shrei bereish moed cotton. Cause of a rush. It's important to understand its first words, cause of a rush. So in moed cotton, there's also a rush. The very beginning of moed cotton. Aleph, Aleph. What's the discussion? Yeah, the famous discussion. Is there an Isa de Oraisa? Says the Russian Tzfar, meaning the quote from the Russian, Moed Koden, Perak Aleph, Siman Aleph. For ha, the Armenian Bishili, Perakam Davod Azara, Kabekusi, for typically, Shum Lifnei Evil Osita and Mesho, when you Melechas Chalamoid. Therefore what? Therefore what? On the bottom it says in my version, Ratzaloma, Uve Isa de Rabbana Lesa Lifnei Iver. To Loka Benatam Betosis Sham. Wow. This is from the Rashash. Oh, Ratzaloma Alaya Logazu Rabbanon Kaven Lo Tsaisi. Talking about a kusi. We'll cut these two are very, very important, which way the Rush really held. He says, well, you know why? Shum de asmachta pshutahi utstukin modin ba. Huh? Takas de Rabbanan, because asmachta pshuta, tstukin modin ba. That's why there is Lifnei Iver, but a real de Rabbanan there's no Lifnei Iver. That's what it sounds like from these two lines in the Rush. Comes the Nachlas to the following problem. Kashali tuva, bereish ma'at cotton cut of a rush, and melechs chamoin and astro midrabon. Hikshal zeh, how the prog was so bekan about his art. Linyan melechas chalamoy, gabi ovik achavin. For tape relay mishum lifnei iver. For tirates mishum, the asmachta pshutahi, ayin sham muchach mizeh, to be the rabbonon, lo shach lifnei iver. Timloke, my parach a rush, uvemis betois the pek of Azor, the table they cost the Mikan Radas have been a tam. Dafi said the Rabbanon the Lifnei Iver Ein Sham. Have a Rosh Yiksha Behod Mistama Sov Loga Ben a tam. As the Rashash first answer implies. Ela the Lo Shach Lifnei Iver Rabbanon. Chili Be Rosh Sosum says, see what here? Here the Rosh is Beferish by Ribbis the Rabbanon. There was a Lifnei Iver. Nilfi Zaiti the Forish the Rosh B'Derech Zeh. The Vade Das HaRosh the Gam B'Der Rabbanon Shach Lifnei Iver. Avu mitam shekosav a rosh b'reish Shabbos. A moshid kos yayin l'nazir af b'dekoy b'chariv v'denara ikle l'fnei yiv d'rabanon came as shemechuyev la'afrisha miyisrayin shom who adin l'fnei yiv d'rabanon the af b'd'rabanon chayav la'afrisha, as I said in Siman Shin Gimel. I just read it before. Period. So now we're sort of stuck. So the Yisra should apply. Again, he's saying, Avad applies. So if it applies, what is he talking about in Masechta Moed Katan? Watch. Shach Kosel Lielsin and Kuf Nun Avs and Katan Vov. The Daf could be Yisrael, Lifnei Iver B'Drabanan. Afin B'Lavochi over. Avalobo V'Kochav Yisrael Mumar. Came in and Chayav Lafrisha Wain Sham. Do the Fizeh. Do Adin. Mumar Le'akum. Eino Chayav Lafrisha. To Din Mumar Yesh Lam Kiyisa B'Simen Kuf Nun Tesev Gimel. That was less Chabur. Fiatzah Zu Nicha. To Shaper Kosa B'Perek Ezel Neshach. To be Avak Ribbis Ika Isa Lulove. Mishum Lifnei Iver. The Hosan Mari Below Mi Yisrael. Uchiyav Lafrisha. Period. The Parach Harosh Bresh Moed Katan. Mimai the Parach Pisov Perakam Adavod Azar V'Tepel Mishum Lifnei Iver. Hainu gave it the Hosan Mari Bekusi. They no Chayav Lafrisha. Leka Lifnei Iver B'Drabanon. Brackets. V'lochein Deah karosh v'kos of gabi kusi v'tepikle. The Afal Gab, the Shamkoi Aliba, the Rav Shimon ben Elazar, the Sfile, the Kusim Geire Emes Haim. Toysa says it over there. In Kayeshloma, the Adifi Mimumor Mukhil Lafrisho. Lakasha Midi. To Agoy Banada Bihuda. Pedogam Meravava Sham. We just read it before. Hikshal Ashach. The Mumulachol Dava Kisralu. Hamay no Chav Lafrisho. Upirish Rishon. And the Chav Lafrish. Ela Baose Bishoge. Who stamuma b'meizidu at kanvarov. Him kain who had in bekusim afim geirei emesheim. V'yachad lemedrash chachamim lo chayshi, as Rashi says over there. Her mumrim b'davazeh v'en chayavan lafrishon kain shaper parach harosh. B'zeh mevua yofa divrei Rabbeinu harosh v'tiruso shekasab kaven asmachta pshuti ustukim modem ba'ainsham. Choreina muvan ma bekachta modem ba. Inema de Rabbanon lo shal Lifnei Iver. Hogam zeh kopon men de Rabbanon. V'hashna nicha. The cave of the modem ba. Ken ein dinam bazeh kemumim u'mechuyavim lafrisham v'shaper shayach Lifnei Iver ken yiranach. This is based on the Noda Yehuda. I don't think it's going to work on the upshot in the Shach, but I just wanted to show it to you. This is a Charifas over here, the Nachlas Tzvi, right here in our. I want to just share with you the Ritva in three places. One, I don't have in front of me. It's a Ritva Masechet Avodah Zarah, which is extraordinarily important, and some of the recent Lifnei Iver Sfarim quoted. The Pashup Shad in the Ritva Avodah Zarah is saying to us on Davav and that sugya that is Lifnei Iver if I'm marshal somebody in an Avera which otherwise he wouldn't do. Well, it's an Avera, he's going to do it 10 times anyway. I'll be marshal time number 11. So if you're a purist, you would say Lifnei Iver. You have it on the screen. If you can find it, I can't see. If you find it, make it bigger so everyone can read it. The Ritva seems to say there in Avodah Zarah that if the person going to do it anyway, there's no Lifnei Iver. Mali does it 10 times, Mali does it 11 times. There's a Chiddush Gadol. I don't know if everyone is nicha to that Chiddush, but that's certainly going to be relevant in our discussion. Because according to that Ritva in Avodah Zarah, all the cases we're talking about, we can suggest there's no Lifnei Iver on that basis. Again, a level of the Oraisa. A level of the Oraisa. Rabbanah is a different story. But a level of the, remember the machlokas b'pshuta between the Pnei Moshe and the Mishnah Melech, the level of the Oraisa they're fighting. So according to Ritva, we can be perhaps make of these kinds of cases not because of the Pnei Moshe's svara that he's going to do it anyway. In this particular case, well, here he needs somebody's help based on a different svara. He's doing 100 times anyway, so it's 101. Again, if that's the Metzius, in that particular case, I have to be discussing. That's Ritva number one. I wanted to talk to you about, which I don't know if you found it yet on the screen. If you see it, you'll let me know. It's on that sugya. Yeah, the harbors. Yeah, I can't read it. It's too small. Can you make it bigger? A little bigger. A little bigger. I'm sorry. A little bigger. Hold on. The Grom Lam Lasel Shem Iser O Laharbos. What has to go to the next column? Next column. Go to the Iser Klal. He quotes the Gemara Mesechta Bava Mesir Daf Heim and Beis. Ilo Teimachi Anan Chiyusa Leroa Hecha Masrina with Parishna Hasam Mori V'Rabbi Neru. So was the opposite of what I just said. Let's go on. Hold on. Then he says there's no Yoreh Bal Yava. Even though it's Abizraya, the Avodah Zarah is Yoreh Bal Yava. Lifnei Iver lo miyuchal Avodah Zarah. There's another shas sugya. Alalav kolalu lechol isurim. For Armina and Yoreh Bal Yava l'kshu isa miyuchal Avodah Zarah. Fine. So I don't know where. Some of what I said is I don't have it in front of me. keep looking. If you find it, you'll let us know. I have two other Ritvas to say, which I do have in front of me. Because the Ritva of Bava Metzia, that's what we're learning, that I do have. Let's start with the Ritva on of Ham and base, and that Gemara that we just saw quoted. How do you give it to a Roeh?
Rebbe, is it the V'afal P on the first column? I can't see the whole thing in front of me, but there was an Afal P in the first column that said even if he's going to be Marbe Be'isr, Lo Chayshinon.
Oh, where is that? Oh, there, right there. Oh. The Afal P, Shefsha Shumarbe Be'isr, Al Yodenu, Lo Chayshinon. That's what I was looking for. Lo Chayshinon. Thank you, Elio. That's what I mean. So if, he can do it without me, but he's not saying that the Pnei Moshe that it's automatically is materit. He's doing it anyway. That's going to be one case where he would never do it in his whole life except for this one time, and someone else can do it for him. Then the Ritva wouldn't apply. But in most cases that we deal with in real life, do it anyway. This is so relevant to Lifnei Iver in all of our cases. You're gonna, I don't know what, he's gonna do something. You're gonna rent him a house, and he's gonna do something wrong. You can do it anyway. Mechal Shabbos every Shabbos 1,000,000 times. So you do one more Chilul Shabbos. That's very relevant to all these kinds of cases.
It doesn't mean one sitting. It means over 15 years.
I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I would say it's a general rule. He doesn't care about it. He's doing it so many times anyway. That's how I read that Ritva of Avodah Zarah. Thank you, Eliu. Someone can quibble on the details. Now we have a Ritva in Bava Metzia Daf Hem and Beis. Ilo tema hachi Hanan chiyus l'raya heichen asmin lei avina mishum lifnei v'lo sita in michshel pirish the afal gav the heicha the islay behemus b'didei the belav didan motzi avedi surah less be mishum lifnei Iver kedis the per kamad avodah zara yeah mikom agom ein lanu ligro misura the mesayeh the over avera ika v'hacha Naktin and Kra, the Ravcha the Milsa. Yeah, when I say Lifnei Iver, it doesn't mean Lifnei Iver. It could be what, excuse me, what can call Lifnei Iver the Rabban. Maybe that's why they use that expression. But the Gemara calls it Lifnei Iver. He's saying it's not really Lifnei Iver. They call Lifnei Iver the Rabbanon, even though really it's based on Hochech, something along those lines. Fine. V'yod, V'lamad the Masor that make Hered l'lesei behemus achrini. Today the alma to him Lifnei Iver mamish. Fine. V'yod the hocha mistama avedi surah vadai. This is a chumrah. He's certainly doing it. Afilu hecha de islay the didei ika mishum Lifnei Iver mashegin because yayin and nazir the yevsha the lav the mishti boile. Wow, is a chiddush nifla. That the whole heter of Chariva Denara, he may not do it. But he's a shepherd, he's going to certainly take from stolen land. There's no heter of, I told you a great cool of the Ritva, but Apesha Itu, Apesha Asa. He has his chumra neflo, that the heter of Chariva Denara does not apply. He says when Mistama Avadi Surah Vadai. That's the word Mistama and the word Vadai are a little contradictory. Like the Chora of Vadai, Mistama Vadai. Should we draw the line exactly? But at some point there's a line. This is a chiddush nifla which other poskim don't have. Could be they don't have the kula in Avodah Zarah. They don't have the chumrah in Bava Metzia. I don't know. I'm just pointing out three ritvas. One more ritva before I stop on the sugya daf Yoreh mid base. Bava Metzia. Maybe if you can get it on the screen, this is worth getting because of the footnote Shabbat. It's page Pei Gimel and Pei Daled in Chidush Ritva Bava Metzia. Watch. What's the case? In Tomar, what's happening over here? He sends a shliach, a kohen, to marry a grusha. Sadly, there are too many such cases nowadays. How could it be? It's not a grusha. She has 3 kids. That's of course a kiddushay tos. Obviously, she would have known. She never would have married him. I don't want to go into that right now. It's just a little too close to home. But okay, too close to home. Okay, fine. If you told if that's the mechshel. Shloma, the cave and the high lav gufe mamish lo mechaya befrat lav bar chiyuvel in yinzeh lo karina be de virava de vitamin de misholim kei pirush v'tosos. What does that mean? So if you look first, let me just finish, and I'll finish the paragraph and I'll come back. Efshaloma, the high suga kurova, hilchos akava say, Diama lo bol eno loka, keman shekidushin tului bebila lo choshev b'achayuva mishun lifnei Iver. Can you really? Oh, dear Shloma, the marik shahakoyin atzmo hoyayochol lekachali atzmo, the b'chi agav, the b'chi holeka mishun lifnei Iver, at all. He's speaking about a Zorah. Now, on both sides, this is obviously against that Odeh Shlomar that we read before, right? Because here you're doing it yourself, not only mistama. I'm doing it. I'm making the kiddushin. Yeah. The hashid asas lahachi. Who are the nematzah the meima? Kohen them of the kohen sevikashi yishagusha. Afa kohen and the muser elish lo the kashi atzmo. Had the knock at Yisrael mishum the shchichi tuva. Adkan. Not a 799. Look at another Yehuda. Rebbe Kivege. Hikshu Cain. My kushla toisus. Hoyo im yachal kasha be'atzol dekel lifnei Iver. But Yehuda here mikan a toisus svilu the afir said the rabbanon and shliach advar aveir. All in the midas rabbeinu muchad with the series hachi kushla toisus. These rabbanon yesh shliach advar aveir. That's another very thorny topic. Thorny topic, right? We know that it became the thorniest topic in the world where we have talked about the Heta Mechira Shemitah. That's where it is metastasized. Everybody gets involved in that. Do it apply by B'Shogeg? Apply by the Rabbanon? Does it cancel it? That's a 2 days in Tosim B'Mitzir Daf Yudam Beis. That's the whole argument where the Chazon Ish wanted to suggest that the Heta Mechira is bottle or mevutel because they do it through the Rabbanut and then Shir Dvar Avera. What's the Dvar? Lo Sechonei. Not for now, but there's on the top I can't resist just telling you Bekitz and Imritz, the Har Tzvi has a sex faker to go against Chazon Ish. Number one, 2 days in terms of Messiah, and I've viewed him in Beis. Does Ein Shir Avera knock out the Chalos, or just doesn't transfer the Onshin? 2 days in Taisus. And number two, there's a Shogeg. They think it's mutter. B'tzchol Chana was matter to sell for 2 years. Another machlokes. So there's a svek sveika. So I can't resist telling you this. I said a svara. We learned the sukkah of Shtir Varavera in the yeshiva, 1977. For those who follow the history of our yeshiva, that began what they called then the cycles. Rabbi Leib Zechron Levracha called him in the Rebbe in his first year in office and said, "Listen, Dr. Belkin was a real Rosh Yeshiva. He decided what you're going to learn. I don't have that clout. You decide what to learn. You're the Rebbe. 10, 20 Rebbe sit there. You decide what to learn." So we sat down around the table and we decided, the people are in yeshiva for 3 years have a cycle. Noshim Moyed Nezik. That cycle held for 18 years straight till some people want to throw in an extra Nezikin, and then later on it became, I don't think it still exists anymore. But it does exist a little bit. A little fishing still exists. Okay, so I think it's a very good idea. It's a beautiful idea. You can learn a little bit of all three. But the first Masech that we learned with that cycle was Perek Beis Kiddushin. And I was saying shir then, and I said a shir on this. I said I had a memon of shach because in shir dvar aveira there are two sources in kedushin. One, divi ra, divi atal, divi mishomin. Two, a gzeres hakosav, a shchut echutz, hu v'lo sholcho. So if the pshat it's based on divi ra, divi atal, divi mishomin, then it should not apply to a shogeg. He doesn't know this us. That's the 2 days in Tosfos and Kiddushin and Rabbi Kama. Fine. On the other hand, if it's Xeris HaKasu, we can apply to Shogeg. Oh, but the Xeris HaKasu, who will Shulcho, they're only talking about Onshin. The only way to say that it's bottle is to say Divi Ra, Divi Atal, Divi Mishomin. So b'monashah. If it's b'shogeg, it has to be chal. If it's based on the Xeris HaKasu, then it's always chal. It's based on the svara, it's not chal. Then it's chal. Then it doesn't apply b'shogeg. That's what I said. I svara way back when. I have to tell the history. Many years later, in the I think the 1990s, came out a sefer called Orlet Zion, Chacham Ben Zion Abba Shaul on Shmita. He says exactly what I said. The hardest tree has a svek. I better. It's a mamanushach. I was so excited when I saw that. The next paragraph, he slugs it up from a Rambam. So I wrote in my sefer why it's not slugged up. I think it's a very good mamanushach still. I'm just Indian the Indian. Can't resist certain things. You can look it up there. I have a piece on Enshtir of the Fine. Back over here to the footnotes. Footnote 800 is what I really want to talk about. Here, Tosa ben a Paris Rabbeinu Nechlechu and Misha'over Ashliach Lifnei Iver Mikra Bar Chiyuva. Tosa's Rabb's Filei the Afim over Ashliach Lifnei Iver Mikom Mikra Bar Chiyuva. Rabbeinu's Filei to Hachi Ayda Kohen Yochel Lekacha Biatso for the Chayla over Ashliach Lifnei Iver. Umashma Tim Hoya over Hoya Mikra Shaber Bar Chiyuva. What's the machlokes? The same we spoke about a few minutes ago in a different context. What's the nature of Lifnei Iver? Is it a Isa Prati or Isa Klali? I just read it to you before. Comes back again. What does he say? Rabbeinu's Filei the over Lifnei Iver nechshav k'over al guf aveira atzma shemachshava. Could be you would say Yoreh Yavar. Could be Abbas Raya Avodah Zarah. As the case may be. Mushabah. So Machlos Balamon Ramban, if I'm not mistaken. Kishem she'im oya over aveira atzma mikra bar chiyuva who hadn't over Lifnei Iver. Tosis Rabb's Filei the afal pisha machshel over Lifnei Iver. Ein ze nechshav k'over al osa aveira shemachshava. So in Klali, Shemachila Mikri Bar Chiyuva. Look at Minchas Chinuch. He chok are machshel b'yisa d'Rabbanan. I told you before. HaMikri over Lifnei Iver d'Oraisa. Shrihichshel b'yisa v'logor me'etza roh. Oh no. Tamachshel eino gerua yosem yanichshel atzmo. Over rak b'yisa d'Rabbanan udin l'machshel. Tos avodah zarah. Tepuk. Daf machshel b'yisa d'Rabbanan ikel Lifnei Iver d'Oraisa yesh l'chalek. Eger, who calls Atos over here, the Hashliach over Lifnei Iver, lo mikra bar chiyuva. Yeah, it goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. What will happen? Isha makefes agadol the lo shlichus over Lifnei Iver, l'gabe lavs and nikris shaber isha bas chiyuva. Masheng achli cotton lo machshilasel kaimak lav shel lo sakifu. Yeah. How did Tosa say Akvali Godol? It's Vegas Kasha here. What does he say? Like Tosa Rabbeinu Paris. Tamachsha b'lav Lifnei Iver lo mikra bar chiyuva b'shel kach. And if Tosa says it's going to be a stira from one to the other, why? Because Tosa says lav Lifnei Iver she'yisrael kiddush gusha l'kayin. What did he answer? Kishal yatzon lo aval al mikra bar chiyuva masha bikra din sfilei. Tamach Lifnei Iver, mikra bar chiyuva. Right? Elakanim de bar chiyuva ikitchel asamut. Solstrim masha kosav akvali kota tamasha da machshav Lifnei Iver lo mikra bar chiyuva. So he says the two dimim of Tosas la meroa echad nitnu. It's hard to say. It's the same page. Ulam Divrei Rabbeinu Shrak Emes is a steer in the Ritva too. Hacha Kosa Dein Lifnei Iver came and Shakoy and Yochel Lekachel Liatzmo. Umasha de Bulavachi the Moichel Lifnei Iver Mikri Shaper the Shliach Bar Chiyuva and Divrei Masli Nami. It's like Tostus. I must learn act for the Godel. Lo Mashkach Lo Dafter Nika Basar Lo Yitin Hakif. Won't let you do it. Masha the Afa Gav the Isha Machshelas Hagodol B'Lifnei Iver Mikomagom Lo Nechshavas Bas Chiyuva. So much Gav Divrei. Oh, but Quanta B'Kivegas and Behemsha Advarim. Not Sasra Dadri. Why? The Akvili Godol Mari, the Yochol Hagodol Gam Lahakif Es Atzmo, Umishum Hochelech Lifnei Iver, Osi Shaper Gam Divrei Rabbeinu. So it all ties together. Everything fits in very beautifully. Comes out. We said 3 different ritvas. The ritva himself has different days. After the ritva over here is against the ritva back on Daf Hey. So therefore, I'd like to follow the kula of the ritva. That even though you're doing it mamish, it's still mutter b'chad Iver denara midoraisa. I'd also like the kula of the ritva in Avodah Zarah, that if he can do it by himself and he's doing it anyway, and just marbeh is also not a problem. And if you take it together with the shach, he's a person who's doing it anyway, so therefore he's likely not a frumayid, no amisecha. So therefore, they put everything together from a little tiny Pischei Tshuva and Simon Kuf Samach Sivkot Nav and Nuchas Ribbis, together with what he said in the Nachas Svi and Shin Gimel, and the Nachas Svi primarily here in Kuf Samach, which I couldn't find, but you find on the side. We have, and then you have the 3 ritvas. We have a significant number of leniencies. We had a bialacha leniencies with respect to the very thorny issue of Lifnei Iver on the level of the Raisa, and Misayea on the level of the Rabbanon, which is called Lifnei Iver the Rabbanon, even though it may be based upon a pasuk in the Chumash. As I just told you, based on this ritual. We'll stop here. Wish everybody a ksiva v'chasim tova, a shnas chaim v'shalom.